Hello guys, welcome back to HTML5 Crash Course, Lesson 10, and in this lesson we'll be looking at inline level elements and block level elements. Alright guys, so we're back in the reference box, and then we'll go inside the folder and create a new file, and we'll call it 7_block_inline.html. Generate a boilerplate. I will just close that off quickly, and then we'll change the title to block and inline. And what we'll do is just open it up with live server so we can see what we're doing as we go along. Now, every HTML element or tag has a default display value, so depending on what type of tag it is, some of these may be block and some of these may be inline. So first we'll talk about the block level element. So we'll just generate a comment here and say block level element. So with block level elements, what they do is they take up the full width of the page. So the effect of this would be whatever tag you write down after this would be put on the new line or on the next line, because the previous element has taken up 100% of the width. So we can use a H1 to demonstrate this. So we'll just put block level element. So as you can see here, even though you still have all this white space after the content, because it's block level, it still spans across the whole width of the page. So even if we duplicated this a few times down, you can see they stack on top of each other. That's because all of these are block level elements and they all span across the whole width of the browser, even though there's all this white space here. We can actually demonstrate this even further if we show a border. If we put a border in here with an inline style. So let's just put a style attribute of border solid green 2 pixels. I wouldn't usually style it like this. I would use an external CSS file, but for the purposes of this video, we'll just demonstrate it with an inline style. So as you can see here, the border spanned across the whole width of the page, because this H1's block level. And as we know, block level elements span across the whole width of browsers. So let's talk about inline elements now. So we'll just create a comment and we'll put inline level element. Now, inline level elements are different in that they don't start a new line like the H1s or the block level elements. They only take up as much width as necessary. So an example of an inline element, are things like link tags or input tags. So let's just put a anchor tag here, and this isn't going anywhere. So we'll just put href, and then we'll put in here inline block. And the key difference between these two elements now, they look similar in the sense they've both got white space, but if I was to duplicate this several times like I did before, they go straight after each other. That's because they only take up the space they need. So if I took off block in the first one, you'd see it shortened because it only needs to take up the space of inline. It doesn't need to span across the whole width of the browser. We can demonstrate this again even further with an inline style with a border. So let's just do it again. Solid 2 pixels. We'll just put it red this time. You can see now that this anchor tag, this inline content, the border only goes around the inline bit. It doesn't span across the whole width of the browser like it did with this block level element here. And that's how inline and block element level works. So what we can actually do here, guys, is if you go over to our browser and we open up a new tab and 3 schools, and we click on inline block and block elements, it'll give you all the lists of which elements are block and inline. So you've got here in block level elements, you've got the H1s that are demonstrated, you've got divs, you've got navs, you've got sections, tables, footers, and then if you scroll down a bit further, you've got inline elements. So you've got the anchor tag, the image tag, the strong tag, the script tag. So this is how block and inline level elements work. As always, guys, just a quick recap on the key points of the lesson. All elements have a default display value. They're dependent on the tag, and the two display values are either block or inline. Block level element always starts a new line and takes up the full width available, and an inline element doesn't start a new line and only takes up as much width as necessary. So if you guys like what you see, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.